My grandfather left us a $2 million car collection that didn't exist. My grandfather, a Vietnam War veteran, suffered from severe PTSD, which worsened in his later years. He was often distant, even from family. My grandmother told stories of his early years, how he inherited a fortune from his father and spent it on lavish dates, trips, and eventually, the house where they raised their family. By the time he passed, we assumed most of his funds had gone toward his care facilities. When we learned he had a will, we didn't expect much. But then came the shock. His will described a warehouse in Michigan housing a vintage car collection worth over $2 million. The collection was to be split equally among his 4 children. None of us had ever been to Michigan, nor had he ever mentioned it. After much debate, my father and I decided to check it out. We flew to Michigan, spending thousands on flights, hotels, and rentals. When we arrived, the warehouse looked run down, tucked in a compound of pristine units. Punching in the code from the will, we watched as the massive door rolled open. Inside, there were no vintage cars, just an empty space, and a few homeless people who'd snuck in through a hole in the fence. My father and I stood there in silence, piecing it all together. It became painfully clear that our grandfather, haunted by his past and battling his inner demons, had fabricated the entire story. What he left behind wasn't a fortune, but a window into the struggles he carried to the very end.